Heavy is the head. I see the boat throwing. I'm too full with it. I gotta keep going. Kobe with the wins. You niggas just Ginobili. You winning only cause of me. Let's keep the ball rolling. No disrespect, Slim. Where is your check, Slim? Welcome back to another episode of the You Weren't There podcast. I'm, of course, your hostess at Mia Was Here, 5_, and we back with another one once again. I'm going to pass it to my co-host, Chaz. We're going to get into the introductions and we're going to get started. Chaz?
Yo, Mia, what's going on? I'm back.
About time!
Kind
Where you been?
Ripping and running, traveling, doing it's busy, man. Busy.
Okay.
But we back with another episode, man. I'm happy to be back and welcoming y'all brothers, man. Let's get the show started. So, just get into it.
All right. Go ahead.
CEO. All right. My name is the good brother Chuck. I also go by Sosa Godfrey. On the socials, I'm on all the socials. I'll be doing TikTok, Instagram, but probably the place you would probably want to find me is Twitter, at the Frugal Scribe. That's TheFrugalScribe, the Frugal Scribe. Excuse me, the liquor already getting to me. That's my Twitter. At me, that's where I get all my good takes. If you actually want a good 3 a.m. take, that's where you got to find me at.
Good to know.
Brother Mook, one of my bestest friends for the longest, also my partner in the High Coast podcast. We're missing our third brother, our producer, Sound Man. He's not in the building with us, but High Coast the podcast is my brother. I'm gonna let him introduce himself, but I just want to High Coast the podcast is our podcast, and it's probably under a larger brand called Hazy Thoughts. So if you ever see Hazy Thoughts, if you've ever seen Hazy Thoughts in the DMV, those are these guys.
These guys.
Yeah.
But like my brother said, my name is Moot. Also could go by Musa, one other name, but I chose to dead that one. But so yeah, HAZIEMUSA is where you can find me at on Instagram and Twitter. I prefer you follow me on Instagram. Twitter.
I got Twitter. You got Instagram?
Yeah, for sure. Because the Twitter is just more of a religious space for me. It's where I get my Middle Eastern news and stuff like that. So it's and I know everybody don't have the same view of politics that I have. So I like to respect everybody's privacy. So if you choose to follow me, then you're gonna subscribe to.
Don't be scared.
No, for sure. Oh no, you. But you know what I'm saying? I just try and protect everybody because everybody got different types of jobs, their bosses and stuff like that.
I respect that.
Don't subscribe to what I be retweeting and shit. So
That's for sure.
you know what I'm saying? So to protect everybody, my Twitter is locked. So I will definitely go through that if you actually follow me. But you know what I'm saying? Peace and blessings to everybody, and appreciate the You Weren't There podcast for having us on.
Big thank y'all for inviting us through.
And shout out to Omatic, our third member, man.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to you, Travis. Hell you at anyway. Nah, we get that. We try to I don't even know if I would say that we try to stay apolitical here because that's not accurate. But
where do you lean?
None of y'all business because I got a job I can't
Real
work.
shit.
But
That's
that was real.
That's like a political leaning.
For sure.
Ain't it?
It is.
You
Yeah.
understand?
So, you know what I'm saying? So,
when you look like me, you understand what that
I'm
means.
just saying,
so
That's the one least talked
you know
about,
what I mean? Like you already know. But the reality is that there's a problem going on in this nation right now, and it doesn't matter which way you lean politically. If you are not noticing that, then there's a much bigger issue happening.
If you're a human.
If you're a human, there's a problem going on right now. And we don't have to get too deep into that, man. But if you out here surviving, you know what's happening.
See, I don't want to bogart and just be out here talking, not to just talk, but when y'all say this is how our podcast, this is how I would be all right. So this is the subject matter. All right. So what is what does that actually look like? How do you? And I think that's
how do you move throughout the world with
as that, and I think that's what High Codes the podcast is about. It's we would for a long time, like when we were, I've known this man since I was like 16.
Break down the code. We actually
And
known each other longer.
yeah, probably I've known him since like middle school.
Yeah.
Like,
But you've been friends since
but we've been friends
like,
since we were like 16. Like this, my boy.
We
Like
played in the same AAU circuit.
Yeah. But like I ride with him, pick him up type.
Yeah.
And when we started, I'm gonna let you get into your question, but like when we started smoking weed, that was a big thing. It was to like smoke and then kind of discuss. So
and
like
we'll literally just be in the car talking about like world history conflicts, then like we go anywhere.
History is my favorite subject.
Music debates, likewise with me, history stuff, sports, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it all tie together, and that's pretty much how our podcast go.
That's real. And I think like we had an episode not too long ago. Shout out to Bobby Sage and DF Jew for that episode that did not come out. But I think we had an episode where like I maybe had a drink and perhaps, and it just went into a place that I just felt like was not safe. And I think like there are people who feel a way about that. You know, that there are certain arenas that we typically don't touch here. And I mean, for lots of different reasons, but for me, the reality first and foremost is that this is my show.
For sure.
And it will operate in a way
you gotta protect you
I
first.
deem best for me. That's just me being honest. You know what I mean? And I don't get up here and bullshit even when that opinion is not one that serves anyone besides me. You know, I work in healthcare, which is an extremely political space in this moment in time in particular, especially in this time period, maybe more now than ever, I think, because I've worked in healthcare for so long. My first job out of college was
especially being a woman with the attack on reproductive rights and all that.
That too, and also like just general health equity.
Yeah.
When you're talking about, you know, fair, unanimous healthcare for everybody. Which everybody deserves. And I don't think that you need to lean one way or the other politically to feel that way, that everyone deserves equitable health care.
That's another thing that we talk about, because like, as you can see, I'm the only Muslim.
No, you're not. Chaz is too.
No, I'm talking about on our podcast.
Oh, on your podcast. Okay.
Yeah. She's like, slow down here, buddy. She's like, slow down.
No, Chaz, no. I don't play about Chaz.
She's like, don't do too much.
I don't play about Chaz, man. We had a guest come up here one time, make a joke about eating ribs, and now he's made a joke about eating ribs in Chaz's face or something like that. I was like,
like purposely, like,
yeah, I told Chaz, I was like, oh no, like, and Chaz don't care, like, you know what I mean? He's a man who's able to compose himself. That's a part of his religion, but I'm not. I'm not a person. I'm not a person that's as easily composed as Chaz. I know that about myself, and that might have turned into something for me. So, you know, the family defend family.
I love that.
You know, even if your family knows how to compose themselves in that situation, that don't make it right for you to sit there and let the shit happen. So, you know, and I ain't rocking like that in any arena.
And that's also big in our religion too, though. You know what I'm saying? Like speaking up for the people that have been oppressed. Protecting your people is important, man. I think that is another thing that should be true, because if you're an American and you live in this country, then you should protect other Americans. Also does not seem to be happening in the way in which it should. But you know, it depends on what you deem American.
What do you deem American?
What do I deem American?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm getting into it today.
See, this is why we don't have questions, because you can have conversation.
I mean, this is what we do. So what do I deem American? I deem, honestly, first of all, American has no color. Let's get that straight.
You sure about that?
Positive. I mean,
how sure are you?
In my opinion.
You shouldn't.
See, that's the thing. There's a difference between the reality of something and then what it is.
She asked me what my opinion.
Yeah, we're only asking him what it looks like for him.
I want to hear his rebuttal to this.
Okay.
Yeah, like I know what y'all was talking about.
No, because you know what I'm gonna say. So yeah,
because I heard her question and how she worded it is an opinionated question. So I got you. I know what you mean. But in my opinion,
I watched their show. This is what they do.
In my opinion, American has no color. It has no religion. It has no ethnicity. It has no sex. You know what I'm saying? And if you were born here in one of the hospitals and they say country, I feel as though you are deemed an American. I believe in birthright citizenship. Just to get that out the way. Yeah, for sure. Because that's being attacked right now. You know what I'm saying? It's just like people in my Uma that have come in here being refugees and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? They having kids in this country. So you have a child in this country, then the mother of that child should definitely also be an American. And with the ICE and everything going on right now, I don't think that they should be attacked. And to cripple the nation, you got to attack the women and the children.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can do that, then you set back the men and said community. The men have nothing to live for, to do anything for. Therefore, you send back generations and said population. That's another conversation. But yeah, but when it comes to being American, though, it has no gender, race, religion, or ethnicity. So when it comes to all of that, it's just like if you being born here,
just a soil thing.
for shit show. And also if you paying taxes in this damn country,
Mm-hmm.
you a fucking American.
So contribution and birthright.
For shit show.
And for the record,
because if you're paying taxes,
non-national immigrants, that means immigrants with no green card, no legal citizenship whatsoever, paid $80 billion in taxes in 2023.
More than a lot of corporations.
Exactly. More than Tesla, more than Amazon, more than Walmart, more than all of those corporations. More than Chevrolet. Like,
and they let a whole city go bankrupt.
I'm telling you. Multiple times.
Okay. So me, I think to be American is a twofold question. So
Trust won't break down to the opinion.
No. Rest in peace, my boy Mac Miller. He said one of my songs. He says he got a bar that says I'm a bigger illusion than what it means to be American. And I've always took that and I've ran with it because Mac Miller was a white guy, I believe he was Jewish, white Jewish guy from like Pittsburgh. If he has reservations on what it means to be American, then it's not as clean cut as I think everybody wants to say. America is a country that existed 1776. Like that's when America. But there's been people here a long time before that, you know. And I'm not talking about people, any sort of documented people. I'm just talking about civilization. I'm talking about civilizations that we've never even thought of or heard of. There's been people here. I was in Mexico City in April for a friend's like gathering, and we went to the Aztec ruins, and they were just explaining how like this empire, which they ran from Arizona, Utah, all the way down to parts of Nicaragua. Look how, like, if you look at a current day map, that's a very, very large empire.
North America to Central America. Near the border of South America.
You know what I'm saying? When I was in college, I had a great professor, and she said something. She was like, why do you call yourselves American? She was like, North and South America are both America, correct? So what does that mean? So for me, to Mook's point, being an American, like, I love what you said, like, Americans need to take care of Americans, because that means something that is very specific. What does it mean? It means citizenship to me. That's what it means to be an American. It means, on one end, citizenship. It means that, hey, I belong to a nation, because that's what we live in the modern world. We live in nation states. So like, whether I was born here, whether I came here through what nation state do I belong to? That's first and foremost. And secondly, it's ancestry. Like, there's people who are American, like, they know no other country, no other place, they are American. They are American because that is what they are. That is what they are. That is who they are. And there's nothing from that, whether it is some George Washington ancestor type of cat, or it is a black person who comes from an enslaved people.
The Freemans and
whether it's, you know, people who have came here on Ellis Island boats from like once you
Abu Bakr,
you know, all that stuff. It actually baffles my mind sometimes. Like South Africa, for example, is a country in Africa. They have white people. Everybody is pretty aware of that. Everyone understands that. Those people have been there sometimes for 500 years.
Large populations of Indians too.
Like they have people who have been there for 500 plus years. No one seems to think of those people as African. And that is very weird to me, because
they change the spelling.
they seem to think of them as white people in Africa, but they've been there for 500 years.
Why do you think that is?
Because our concepts of race is how we determine things. So for a lot of us,
and they own most of the land in the country.
Once again, I love what Mook said. America has no, because a lot of people, to be American means to be white. That's what it means. It means to be from this white Anglo Christian product, whatever colonize. It's a colony of Britain.
Yeah,
like that's what it means.
It's definitely a WASP concept.
That's a lot of the concept. So that's why I always ask, what is the reality?
Whole time they would have left over.
When I go to other countries and you tell people you're American, it kind of, you kind of see them doing
the math,
trying to do some calculations, and it reminds me of something. I'm just gonna keep just throwing out people because that's just Baldwin. Baldwin has a great quote when he was in a jail in Europe, and he was with some Moroccans, and he was like, "My passport made me realize I was American," because even with these other black people in this European jail in the 1940s, 50s, James Baldwin realized that like, there's a fundamental difference between people and two nation states.
And it also made him realize that race is international.
You know what I'm saying? So like, while some things are like very American, like there's a very American way of racism. I don't deny that. But racism, to more explain, is an international thing. So like, we need a,
because classism and racism started in Europe.
We gotta. I think we gotta do a better job.
We operate under the system of colonialism everywhere,
and I think we need to do a better job of both acknowledging that it is similar but not the same. Because I think that's a big issue where sometimes people will lump everybody who's black, and that is not fair sometimes, because now you disregard real lived experiences, real things that
individual plight
that affect people. So like I said, once again, to be an American is twofold to me. So there's certain people who are American in a way that they don't see other people. And I understand that. Like if you only know America and there's this person who came here and got their citizenship and you might feel a little differently. And that is okay. There's okay, but that's
regardless of color.
Yeah, regardless of color. But this country is unique like that. Like there's not many countries in the world that operate like the United States of America. Very few. Like Mexico is a very close country, but I could like make reasons why it doesn't work like that. But like there's very few countries that operate like this one. So like,
because like you said, you was in Mexico City. If you tell them that they're Hispanic, they're gonna tell you I'm not.
They're gonna tell you no. Some of them gonna tell you. Some of them gonna tell you I'm Spanish. Some tell you I'm a Spaniard. Some tell you I'm like no. Some tell you I'm a native. Some will tell you I'm this or that. You know what? They're gonna really be like, these are my people. You're gonna see people whiter than anybody. They're gonna tell you I'm Mexican. That's what they're gonna say. What do you mean I'm white? They're gonna tell you I'm Mexican, not white.
From a certain tribe up in the mountains, such and such.
My people came here and fought in a war, so we, like, and all that stuff matters. So I think like, I think that's why you have to be. I think when we're having all these conversations, we need to be very like
nuanced.
Not even nuanced, but we need to be open. We need to be able to like to spread ourselves. We got to be like, hey, what does that mean to you? All right, it don't really mean that to me, but like, is there common ground? Can we find somewhere where like I see something? Because if not, then once we decide this is this, you're gonna find too many people on the opposite ends, and that's why Americans aren't taking care of Americans.
And at this point, we causing division.
Because if a lot of people saw other people as American regardless, they might take care of them a little bit more. But if you're willing to make a difference, like the first thing is race, all right, boom. It's only 13% of black people in this country, so we've segregated. All right, boom.
Are we still 13%?
Maybe it always
I
fluctuates.
thought it was closer to like 8 or 9 now.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. It'll be like, who do you ask? Like, what is it? Like, what is the census? Like, you see how they like redrawing maps right now, right? So like, you don't know like
going through that shit.
What's a census? What's it like? Who? And that's another thing. Like,
how many people actually get accounted for the census? Like, how many counties? Because like we went through that shit in PG.
How many people accurately say what they are on it? Like, let's be honest. Like, there are people who, for the history of this country, who have lied for good reason about what they are.
Because I'm definitely.
How many people are lying now who might be black, might be this, and are other on a census?
I'm definitely one of them niggas that'll check. I'd rather not.
But that's what I'm saying. I'd
rather not disclose.
That's good. I want you to answer her first.
Why?
Because of my name and religion. So like, say I would like, if I like my given name is very
good white name.
Yeah. Type shit. So it's just like you could honestly be like, if you see my given name, you'd be like, I don't know what this guy is.
Ah.
But like, and my resume, even though I didn't go to college, match up. So it's just like, I'm not about to let this be the reason that I'm not about to get that. And like in the field I work in, that matters. So it's just like, I'd rather not.
Okay.
And then like when you talk to me, it's just like, okay, this guy just has a deep voice. We don't really know. And so like when you see me in person, then like we actually had a like conversation and we get to talking and all of that. And you start asking me about the systems and different shit. Then it's just like, oh, I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, because it's just like a lot of times, especially in my field, like the college shit kind of matter. So it's just like, nah, like I did the work, my nigga. Like, and it's people that I've trained that came from college. So it's just like, you're not about to tell me that I need a degree to do what I'm doing when I trained the person that came from college.
Right. No, that's real. And I think also like we live in a space now where that matters a little less in the workspace than it ever did before, or at least that's something that I'm noticing.
Yeah.
And I think some of that is because on one level, large corporations understand that hiring younger means paying less, right? Which is better for an overall budget. So your like years and years of like experience matter less than they ever did before because it would be cheaper. I
only got that many years in this field.
That's what I'm saying though. That's my point.
The experience that I've gathered with the minimum time I've been in this field.
Right.
It really fucks their head up.
That's what I'm saying. And I think that that's really what like millennials and forward like have in common is that there's this air of like being right in between, right? Just old enough to be mature and professional in a workspace, but just young enough to be able to pay a good salary that makes sense for them, but not to have to pay what like a 55-year-old, 60-year-old baby boomer would be requesting for maybe what is exactly the same amount of experience as what you had.
I tell some of the young niggas that I work with, I'm like, bro, like, how old are you? And they tell me. And I was like, I was working 3 years prior to the age that you are. So it's just like me and Chuck been working. Like we been had jobs. So it's just like, you know what I'm saying? We get out of school, job, we got 2 weeks off, and then we getting straight to the work.
For sure.
So
but I think like that, like our generation is now like the managers, the right? Like so you're good. Like this is honestly, this is what we say all the time, right? This is what we say all the time. So whenever we bring guests up here, the whole reason why we don't have cue cards, why we don't have like set, and maybe it's harder to tell if you're not a guest on here because we've been getting like so much love, so much feedback from people trying to get on the show. We appreciate y'all. We're gonna get all y'all in. But
thank you for getting us in.
Yeah, like we be getting a lot of feedback and we want to do that because there ain't no politics on the show. We just care about conversation.
Yeah, see, that's why I wasn't even trying to be a dick or anything about the apolitical thing. It just in the state of the world we're living in, it always kind of just baffles my mind when someone is willing to take a really, really strong stance one way or the other. And not because
I appreciate you for not judging me.
Not because it's like I'm sure I'll straight up tell you I'll judge you. Like if I think you're super right wing, I'll be your friend, but I'll judge you because there's something to that.
For sure.
Okay, I think there's something.
So that's why you don't judge me.
Yeah, why would I? No, I love you. But like there's something about also being like super leftist. Like I think there's something there's a super holier than thou. There's a super like moral compass thing that they do, which. Yeah.
I think like if you're not careful, socialists can turn into Marxists very quickly.
And you know what I'm saying? And my thing is that I actually don't have any problem with that, but you need to be honest about it.
Yeah, be honest about it.
You need to be honest about how you want to live. Like me.
Like, bro, say you're a communist.
Even if, but here's the thing, most people don't be communists. That be the issue. Most people just want to live a comfortable life, but they don't understand how to explain that in the facets of the world we live in. Here's the thing.
There's a lot of socialism going. Like people.
Bro, we talk about this all today.
Sure.
When you call,
I think most people are socialists and don't know.
They know everybody in this country. Oh, I swear to God, this thing it irks my nerve. And when you call the police,
and like you think there's a reason why like this whole communist thing is starting to come back.
I'm curious now because you know the dude in New York, like that's what communism. But I think it's like it's a scare tactic. Like that's the whole.
Okay. Scare tactic because it's just like, bro, like
Shout out to Madonna. Yeah, like what he talking about, like that's how a city is supposed to be ran.
But here's
like you have like New York can literally be its own country, and
California, all these people.
You know but here's you telling me what he's trying to do will affect your GDP that much?
No. But here's my bigger issue with the whole thing.
Like that's not communism, my nigga. That's just actually allocating funds the way it's supposed to be allocated with the money that we bring in.
Probably, but that's a whole different ball game.
But that's the thing, like we don't live in a place where that's happening. Because that's not what's happening.
But that's what I'm saying.
It is a shock to the system.
That's what I'm saying.
Think of it this way, right? So
niggas take $100,000 less per year.
That's what I'm saying.
And they call it communism.
That's what I'm saying.
You made $6 million in 3 weeks.
Listen, my biggest issue, when you call the police, do you pay?
Yeah.
No,
you
don't.
They come to your house, or they send somebody out immediately.
I mean, there's taxes.
There's taxes. No, but do you pay? Do you? No. I'm saying when you call the police 911, do you pay anything?
First of all,
when there's a fire and you call the fire department,
first of all, you call an emergency dispatch,
whatever,
and then
I don't care. 311, that's fine. You can do all you can go through all the logistics you want. Is there any time you make a payment from the time you call get to your house?
It's toll free.
Fire.
It's toll free.
Fire.
It's toll free.
Fire. Same thing. When you ride $4.95, do you pay?
Nah.
So you live in like social. You mess with socialism, my boy.
Not in Maryland.
You mess with and that's the thing. When I see.
Not in Maryland.
When you say,
I see what you say. Don't pay what you do.
Because once you get to Virginia,
but here's the thing, though.
No, we talking about out of pocket. Because everybody, Virginia, you paying a toll road.
Sure.
So it's like you paying out of
exactly.
So like that's
and you get less, and you know what you get out there.
He said 95, 495. I'm like, what are we talking about?
Once again, I love this guy because he was doing semantics with me, but you know what I'm talking about. You know what I. But my ultimate thing is that like
we might have some listeners.
If I want to go,
that's in Virginia right now. You know what I'm saying?
If I want to go get,
they get fucked up with them tolls.
If I want to go get an iPhone right now,
up with them tolls.
I can't call. And they will not bring me an iPhone and be like, all right.
If you got the proper insurance, they will bring you.
Once again, proper insurance, correct?
Yeah, but it's through my.
At any point, it's
through my courier.
I've paid. Yeah, I have physically had money to. Yeah. When I call the police, I've done it before.
They let me take that motherfucker out every month.
When I was on our street and someone broke into my man's car, we called the police. They came. They didn't do nothing, but they came.
For sure.
My point is that, like, we understand these concepts. We understand, and I think we need to do a better job at also explaining this to people.
To be fair, the other side of that, right, is that when you tend to have to pay for something up front, you also tend to get better service out of it, right? So
because there's a convenience,
right? There's a convenience fee, but also
you're not
like
for shit else but convenience.
There's convenience behind it, but I think what I'm thinking of it in terms of is really like, if you go to a restaurant, right, and you paying for your bill right then and right there at a Ruth Chris, you get a certain kind of service because that person, because that person like expects to receive like a certain kind of tip out of that. They're expecting to receive a certain kind of commission out of that, what have you, right? I think I'll give a great example, right? Former co-host of this show, shout out to him. He had a break-in in his car. He called the police because not only was there a break-in, but he had a legal firearm registered in Maryland that was also stolen from the vehicle, right? In the event that it was used in a crime, he wanted to ensure that he was protected. So he called the police to file a police report. However, the break-in took place in the District of Columbia, right over the line, right? Now, if you live here, you know that you can jump 2 minutes across the street and be in the District of Columbia, right? He had a Maryland registered firearm, right? Hold on. He had a Maryland registered firearm. He's in the District of Columbia where a crime takes place against him. He calls the police to ensure that that registered firearm is notified to the police as being missing. When the police officer gets there and he tells him about the break-in, he also tells him about the missing firearm. At this point, he's in the District of Columbia. The cop then focuses not on the crime, not on the missing firearm, but the fact that the registered weapon was in a state that it should not have been in, and attempted to arrest him. Now, he fled the scene of that situation, and then having a lawyer, his mother, come to the police station once he had to turn himself in, he was able to get out of that situation. But I think that, type of situation is what happens when you don't have to pay a police officer to show up for you. I think you are more likely to get better service from the police if I could just pay this bitch ass nigga $100 to just come and come to the scene of this crime, because he might not get paid that $100 or whatever the fee is for him to come and assist me if he just gonna get paid out of his salary, his commission, and his taxes from the state. If I had to pay him right then and right there, you might get a better response in a situation like that.
May I ask what time of the month it was when the break-in?
I want to say this was like last April.
Was it towards the end of the month or the beginning of the month?
I don't want to lie because I don't remember.
Okay.
You know what?
But I would say probably towards the. I want to say probably towards the end of the month because he called me like while I was at like a company dinner, and that tends to happen like middle.
You know what's interesting? Yeah. I agree with
that was a quota.
You know what's funny? As you tell the story, I'm waiting for the part to be like, nah. But I was like, everything you're saying, I agree. Yeah. But once again, that is if we lived in a proper society. But we don't live in a proper society because
he was actually considered a state that was.
Because here's what I would say. I would say if we lived in a proper society, there would be proper channels in which, because he had a gun, American citizen, had a registered gun, it wouldn't matter whether he was in Maryland, DC, Virginia, Florida, because
in a proper country.
Because everyone loves this. One thing I want more Black people to do: tout your amendments. This all I do is hear white people scream Second Amendment, Second Amendment, Second Amendment, Second Amendment. He should have screamed that his Second Amendment right was being violated to the heavens and heavens and heavens. Exactly.
Which is why he got out of that.
And I get that, but that's the thing. The citizen themselves has to be more knowledgeable. One thing I will say about just our generation, I feel like the generation before us was more knowledgeable. I feel as though elders, they knew who a representative was. Like they could tell you who their local person. They might not could tell you but they could be like, oh, that person represents me. They knew the Fannie Mae's.
Here's the thing, though. There is, to be fair, right? There are layers of reasons behind why that is not the case.
And I don't deny. And see, that's the thing. There's always an institutional. As a Black person, and there's always an institutional. Because I heard someone say racism is the answer for everything. I was like, yes. Like, you're not wrong. Like that's not a wrong in America. That's not a wrong starting point. But where do we go past it? Because there are actual things that we as people can do. Because I don't like people who disregard the institutional aspects of things, but I also don't like people who try to act like it is a boogeyman.
Like Redline, for example.
Because Black people.
What do you mean by that?
Act like it's a boogeyman. Act like it can't be changed. Because Angela Davis, I know people feel strongly about her in both sides of the spectrum, but in her book, Race, Class, and I forget, Race, Class, and Gender, I believe, one thing she says that will always stick with me, she was like, we have the imagination to change the world. She was like, the world you currently live in was created by somebody. She was like, the things that she has seen, she talks about in her book, she talks about the progression she has seen herself in this life. She says that came through the imagination of people. They were in points that they were more desolate than you. Yeah. And they decided to want to change.
But the shifting of imagination, I think specifically, right? Because I can't speak for any other like culture of people except for my own, right? I don't have those experiences. For my culture specifically, I think by design, there's a reason why our imagination.
What do you mean by your culture?
So I mean like Black folks in America. So I think there's a reason why Black folks in America have a more limited imagination these days. And I think
these days,
right? I'm not talking about history. I'm talking about right
you're talking about currently.
I'm talking about this generation. I'm talking about
we talking about Black women. Or
I'm talking about Black people, Black men and Black women, ages, let's say 28 to 48. Right. Okay. So within that 20-year range.
Like a generation.
Right. A generation.
A strong generation.
Exactly.
Okay.
So within that generation, I think there's a reason why we lack imagination, and I think that's by design.
Can I push back on that after you finish?
After I finish. I think I was watching a documentary the other day. My boyfriend and I, we were watching this. And it was talking about like the concept of overconsumption, right? And how it's by design, right? So let's take something as simple as the iPhone. Right? When you go back to the iPhone 4, there were methods in which you could take the back off your phone, you could fix things, you could buy screws from the store, right? It was easy to do. The new iPhones are specifically designed for you not to be able to fix them, so that you're now forced to buy a new one.
You literally cannot buy the tools.
You literally cannot buy the tools anymore. They have created screws that don't exist anywhere else, so that you couldn't fix it if you wanted to. I think that like greed in terms of like corporational existence.
It's also growing the coding company.
Right, exactly. There's layers to that, right? It's not just like the technical and physical design of something. It's like the coding that goes behind everything. Also like the advancement of coding itself, right? So I think like there's this like concept of overconsumption, which has been passed on to our people. I really apologize for taking over your podcast. Nah, it's cool because we're about to take this shit back over shortly. Chaz, no. But I think there's this concept of like overconsumption that exists specifically within Black folks between that age range. I think a part of it is because of what we come from as a people. When you never had shit and you finally get some shit, you want to show that shit. And I think also within the mind fuck that is that particular thought process, there is like the engineering of social media, which then causes you to overconsume garbage, pollution to your mind, right? Which then forces you into thinking that these things are the right way of seeing things. That overconsumption and greed is what should happen. When you arrive at a certain point, when you arrive at a certain point financially, that it is not your women or your people that are your culture that are valued, that now you need these trophies of other races that exist to build you up, to make you exist, and to make you more palatable in these spaces with people that you look to move forward with your career. Quite frankly, LeBron is an anomaly. When you have a certain amount of money, when you have $1 billion, having a woman who looks like Savannah next to you is not as amazing as having Golden Tate's wife next to you. Shout out to you, nigga. So as a result, I think that by design, there are these layers of things. There is a technical aspect to why you cannot fix your own life. There is a social aspect to causing you to think that overconsumption and greed is who you should be, that that's respectable, that if you are not these things, then you are not the person you think you are. There is a generational aspect to that. All your friends and the people around you in your shit circle are doing those same things. There are athletes continuing to purport and push this message because the people in their spaces of financial gain see it that way and continue to poison them. And then they create a generation of people who continue that foolishness. And foolishness at its start only gets worse as it continues. So it's not just like this issue of like our people don't have these things or we not these things. No, we are the best. There is none greater than us. But at the end of the day, if you are not like actively involved, like if you have these same people, teachers in schools, right? Schools are underfunded. There are not enough books and teachers are tired and overwhelmed, right? You have parents, right? We had shout out to Jay and to Ab who came on the show. And I think they raised an excellent point about the fact that a lot of parents look to teachers to be babysitters, right? So you're not doing your job at home because you're caught up in this air of overconsumption and greed because you're of that generation. You raise a generation of little kids, little bad motherfuckers who do the same shit. They around kids in school who are on that same shit. And even though these kids are geniuses with the capabilities of changing everything, it is by design that you don't want to.
I also have a point to make with that. Giving your child everything isn't also what it's made out to be.
No, I don't think that, like, that's what I'm saying about greed and overconsumption. I think what we've like taught our children to value. Your child
what you didn't have.
Like, what does that mean, though? Giving your child everything you didn't have, for me, that means knowledge. From the time that my nephews were small children, nurturing. What I taught them as young boys, because I feel like they needed to hear this from a woman if they never heard it from their daddy, was that it is more important for you to be a good man than anything else. It is important for you to be somebody of character. And if you are not a good person, if you can't look at yourself in the mirror and be proud of what you see, you've accomplished nothing, no matter how much you have. That is what I think we need to be teaching these kids. But instead, we treating proms like weddings and teaching kids to value this bullshit. Why did your son need a Lamborghini for his prom? This is the kind of shit y'all doing. This shit don't matter.
Go ahead, Chuck.
All right. I hate to see. I was like, once again,
Can I go first before you dive down?
All right, go.
I just want to gas your point up because that is though. Because my nephew's birthday just passed, and I'm the male influence in his life.
Okay.
I love that little nigga for what he's doing. I really love the person who he is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Nephew, if you ever see this, champ, shouting you out. Because you made me the man I am. You know what I'm saying? I gave him what I didn't have as a father. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have, like, Chuck, no. Like, you can actually go back and on our pocket, go to Hazy Thoughts on the YouTube channel, follow us, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff. I have a solo episode where I actually talk about my life and the beginning parts of my journey with Islam and all of that. So, yeah, like, I gave my nephew everything I didn't have when it came to, like, being a father. Like, he didn't know his father, like, no relationship with him. I actually knew mine, you know what I'm saying, had a relationship, blah, 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 all that. You know what I'm saying? So, when it came to him, like, it was just like, oh, I'm about to have a nephew back. You know what I'm saying? Gave that little nigga everything. And then lived with him for, like, a very existential point in his time in life. And then I moved back up here. And then it's been like a phone conversation, but whatever. I was like, you know what I'm saying? His birthday that just passed. I told him to, like, I said it on Instagram and I said it to him. I was like, bro, you're a way better person than I was. Like, you're a way better man. Like, I've actually seen it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, if I had any part to play in that, like, I appreciate the fact that you made me who I am and growing to who you became to be. You know what I'm saying? Type shit. So, like, I definitely agree with that, like, everything you just said. Charles, go ahead and ruin everything that I just said.
No, I don't mean to ruin things, but all right, so a part of me goes, Black people marry Black people 88% of the time. This is from the federal database. So take that number for what you want. Like, overwhelmingly, no matter what,
whether it be justice or the people,
whether it be the billionaires or whether it be the dude who make $30,000, Black people overwhelmingly tend. Now, I do admit, when we get into certain spaces, the pictures look different.
We were only talking about certain spaces, but continue.
No, but I'm just saying, like, just by the numbers, even the Black really, like, was the dude Morris from Morehouse who, like, who gave him, like, I believe his wife is Black. I'm more than positive. Like,
his first wife is the one that.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm sorry. Like, his first, the Michael Jordan. I call it the Michael Jordan syndrome. When your first wife is Black, and then I can't call after.
You're conflating, but go ahead.
You think so?
It's okay. I'm timing up for you. So when you get finished,
my larger point was that
this is usually my job.
The numbers state that overwhelmingly Black people, regardless of, they're going to marry other Black people. So, as a Black man, I just gotta be like, I don't know all about that because the numbers just don't bear it out.
She going off influence though.
But yeah, influence.
We're talking about the Black elite. What you're talking about is the majority. The Black elite is a 1%. Literally,
I agree, but
and
like
1% is what you see.
No,
we don't see.
I was watching the episode. She said she was
here's my point, right? So let me prove something to you right now. The guy who paid for those scholarships at Morehouse, what was his name?
Morris.
Robert Morris, I believe.
No, Morris. I know his last name was Morris.
Exactly, but you don't actually know his name the way you would know like a LeBron James, and that's my motherfucking point. You don't actually know these people, but you know a LeBron James, and that's the difference. I think there's a difference between
that's why I was
a LeBron James and what that looks like, a Golden Tate, a more visible Black person, whether they marry Black or marry white. We're not talking about day to day. Chaz is married to a Black woman. My parents are married. We're not talking about the 88%. We're talking about the 1% that has the most influence online and specifically within this generation of children.
But see, and that would be probably my larger point, that LeBron James should not be this great of an influence. That is a larger.
What does that have to do with the fact that he is? What he should or should not be is not relevant. But
that's the thing. There has to be a reality to a situation. Let me say there has to be the reality.
Are you proposing a solution behind that?
Yes. So here's no. He said, "What do I propose as a solution to it?"
He was talking about like they knew how to spot like an actual leader. Like, so he's still arguing that point.
No, my thing is that we have a societal thing has changed. Societal, not just Black people, America. Up until 1940s, almost every president was a military, had some type of military background. From 1945 on, that isn't the case.
As it should be.
As a larger society, we have changed the people. Celeb, as a concept, is a very new concept. It is a 1950s concept. The magazine industry hurts, Hertz magazine and I forget the other one are literally the pioneers in bringing the idea of the celeb. So this idea, I agree with you, is a very new. This is not even
people.
But what it was before, whoever bought it. But my point is that this is a 70-year-old thing. This isn't something that is rooted in, I would say, like the society. America's a 250-year-old country. Let's just go straight off of numbers. If we've been doing something for 70 years, that means there's larger points of this country where that was not the case. Intellectuals, large and large and beyond, have been the leaders in all. I'm not just talking about Black people. I'm talking about in American spaces regardless. So with that shift, I agree with you. Why is LeBron James that person in which people see themselves as the sick? Now, that is the question that we have to ask ourselves. It is, to your point, the overconsumption. But why is that? It's because this is just my opinion. Media as a fourth estate has whittled itself. There was a very popping Black journalist. There was a very popping Black journalistic era in this country in which Jet Magazine for all of the 70s played a very large part in how Black people saw themselves. So Black people didn't need a MTV or a larger white corporation to tell themselves about themselves. They had that, and Jet was also popping. This is the issue to now. In the year 2025, Essence isn't popping. There is no Black publication in which people, I feel like, can see themselves and feel like it's popping. So where do you have to go to? You have to go to the larger corporation, because if you want to be this, I think this all ties in, this idea of American. For a large part in this country, you could be Black American and not have to feel like you tied into white people for success. That's why you could be Black. She set it up.
So you said you could be Black American and feel like you're not tied in. Break that down.
You don't have to be tied into the larger idea of a white wasp America. You could be the man in Birmingham. You could be the man in Harlem.
I know you don't.
I mean, I'm from America, but that's a whole different.
That's what I'm saying. But like Harlem, you could be in Harlem. You could be in Harlem. You could be in these places and be the. You could be there. You could have families. You could have. Michigan. You could do all these things. You can make Motown. Yeah. You could do all these things.
You can be.
This is because the segregation provided that.
Yeah.
In the worst ways, it provided a Black elite. It provided a place in which Black people could do for themselves and also focus strictly on themselves.
Like Madonna, you think he became the power from like.
Once you strip that down and everybody is fighting. Once me, you, and everybody we know is not just fighting to be the best Black person. Now we're fighting to be with all these people.
Just people.
Now we dilute ourselves in a certain manner because we would much rather be palatable to a larger audience than to our audience.
Well, that's my point.
Now to my thing is in this day and age.
You human.
He's just being stupid. The last 5 years, introduced streaming, the streaming kids. They have changed the game, in my opinion. Corporations now have to come after. Corporations cannot dictate to you. Corporations cannot sit up and say, hey, we want to make you a streamer. They can't. They just can't. There's nothing. I don't care.
So did that give the new generation more imagination than previous?
Yes, but here's the. But I think yes, but to her point, for basically for 25 to 30 years, they've been doing one thing. They've been following celebs, rappers, athletes, this and that bullshit. So what do they do on there? Of all the streamers, there's only one that I really respect. I respect Kai Cenat because I respect anybody who's able to get it. But the only one I actually respect is the Speed Kid. You want to know why? Because he does things that I think are unique. He goes out and he explores the world and he tells people about himself, about where he's from, and he like.
To your point, though, I think Kai Cenat is a great example of like really the issue with like these kids not using their imagination, right? And also like the lack of exploration in terms of your history. Chaz and I, we talk about that a lot, right? So we are I would say probably music focused podcast. We have a lot of artists in here. We believe in the artistry of the city.
Business.
We like that's what we focus on because we were a part of it ourselves for so long, right? So you tend to focus on, retired.
I used to manage and
yeah.
I still consult with artists now.
Yeah, and Chaz still consults. So because we are like products of, I think, like the environment of music in this area, we have a lot to say about it, right? So one of the things that I think is very important is understanding your history in music. I think like if you don't understand how Melly Mel influenced LL, who influenced Drake, who influences everybody in this new generation, I don't think you should have an opinion on music.
No, but
so
can I just say one thing you said? Because I just want you to finish.
No, did I?
I know you. That was just funny.
He's stupid. He's stupid as hell.
That's right.
Because I know
why you call me stupid.
You can't name everybody.
Exactly. No, I just want because I want you to keep.
Skip over all New York artists and then go straight to the.
No, I just want you to keep on. But you see that?
Give my man Josh some love.
But you see that when you talked about history.
But that's my point, though. My point is like these stupid. Nelly, all of that, like all of these. My point is that there's a lineage in music, right? These kids don't understand that lineage in music, and then you have a Kai Cenat who is of this generation, one of the most important voices in it by far, who has no fucking idea who anybody before Drake was.
But here's my question. That's my thing. You care about history, like. You are a music buff. You've been in it for a long time. So you care about it. Like just the history of music, that means something to you. I'm of the mindset that there is a generation, regardless of race, that doesn't. The world starts in 2016.
For sure.
Like legitimately, the world starts in 2016. Yeah. So how do you change? Because that is not.
Something crazy. My boyfriend is 30. He don't listen to nothing made before 2009.
But that's the thing. That's a cultural, thing.
He don't listen to. Listen, this nigga, like he knows 3 R&B songs, and I introduced him to all of them in my car. He does not listen to soul music. I really feel like we had to work harder on communication because he don't listen to no niggas singing love songs.
No. But here's the thing: when you were growing up,
boom bap rap.
No. Real life. When you were growing up, all the movies, what did they do? They played popular like movies. I was having this conversation with somebody at work. What is the thing that we do as a society that everybody does together in this country?
What's the question again?
What is the thing as a society in this country everyone does together?
Sports.
That's it. In the year 2025, as a kid, you know what we did? At 8 p.m. on a Friday night or a Wednesday night, you knew what show was on TV, right?
TGIF.
You knew what was on, and then you know what happened? The cultural zeitgeist becomes a connector. So we all come to work on a Thursday or school or this, and we hear the song. When popular rap songs used to play in TV shows, that was it. So now the culture that everyone, we like, what are you talking about? Your white friend is like, you hear that? You're like, what are you talking about?
That's something I hadn't thought of. Like, what is the connecting factor?
We don't have. I talk to someone who works in media every day. I see it when we do promos for a game or an event. Nobody cares. Nobody cares unless it is the Super Bowl.
But when Poppy on the Dan Le Batard
but when Kai Cenat, but when Kai Cenat is doing something crazy, everybody cares. You want to know why? Because all they have to do is care for 30 seconds, and then you're gonna move on. So then all Kai Cenat has to do is Kai Cenat can shoot Kai Cenat can shoot 3 for 100 and be good. Versus somebody who like makes music or something, you can't go 3 for 100 on your last 100 tracks. How would that work? You wouldn't have no fans.
Casanat look at life like baseball.
All you gotta do is 3 for 10. 3 for 10.
3 for 10.
3 for 10.
I bet 300, nigga. I'm going.
And I'm great.
But see, that's really my concern. And this is what I was telling Chaz this. We had this conversation a couple months ago that a big part of my issue with like a streamer like Kai Cenat who has this huge voice, especially in a space of music. Now, Kai would say like, I'm not a music critic. Yes. I'm just listening to music. Yes. I respect the fact that he can say that. But that's what I'm saying though. That's my point. That's my point is that you have a voice that penetrates. So it doesn't matter that you don't see yourself as a music critic. All the people listening to you do. And so when you don't understand or know the history behind any of this music, when you criticize a Clips album as trash because you don't really understand like hip hop or the drug era of music or where all of this comes from, I have a problem with it.
Ain't that a silver lining in it too?
This is always Chaz. You're always defending these motherfucking kids. Go ahead, Chaz.
One, because the younger generation, really, when we get deep to it, they was made for the change everyone's talking about.
I agree.
So when the world is breaking down and these youngins out
What
here
change
doing
are you talking about though?
The digital, all this.
So America, as you know it, has to fall.
Selling fentanyl.
Well, I don't agree with that.
I feel you, but I'm just saying it still has to fall.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? America, as you know, it's just not what it is no more.
It's lasted more than 3 generations. It's going to start the year.
Yeah, man. And
that's some Islamic shit.
I mean,
I get what y'all saying, but I like Chaz. I like Chaz.
Let him finish his point.
No.
Finish your point.
I need this to finish it.
No, because
not Islamic shit. I just need to get out of the way.
No, you just hit me because I remember earlier you was like, what I mean by like that reality situation, and I think you just hit my point that there's certain things that America gotta fall. Facts. But there's 8 super countries, literally in the world. It's gonna probably take them a lot longer. But your ultimate point is that there's a larger ideological thing.
But
America's built on the colonialism.
Even America, that ideology is still worldly. So all over
it's built on oppression.
All over the map. When y'all talk about race and this and that, black people all over the world is rising up because 2 gods can't serve the same. So. When we talk about this youth, they was made for this time for a reason. So when the Department of Education going now, it's a purpose for that. You know what I'm saying? These youngins right now in this time span, like you said, Consonant, they don't need to hear that music right now, because they ain't gonna do you no good. Drug rap is not serving no purpose at this point.
These are facts.
You're 50 years old still talking drug rap. It's not gonna move us another 50 years forward.
But at the same time, they talking about selling drug rap. These niggas is users.
I mean, for sure. I mean, because they sold it to their parents. They passed that down to them. You know what I'm saying? So I do think it's beneficial for them not to hear no more of it.
I don't,
because they're the users.
That's a good point, Chase.
I'd agree with you if I thought they were listening.
Yeah, but
that's why it's a positive. They're not listening.
But here's the thing. This is my rebuttal.
Yeah. What you gonna say?
This is my rebuttal. Because when it comes to that, everybody love the Jeezys and the Jay-Z's and all them niggas, the Scarfaces and all that, because it was like, oh, my nigga, it taught me how to hustle. You know what I'm saying? All that shit. So it's just we get back to that. It's just bro, these niggas is not hustling no more.
But what
they'd rather not make no money.
Jay-Z and Jeezy.
I'd rather not. I don't want 8 out of 10 young niggas thinking that they could be casting that.
All right, but see, 8 out of 10. Okay, let me ask you this.
Then you go out and actually.
Let me ask you this.
Let me go out and get a job, my nigga.
Hustling. Yeah. Because 8 out of 10 Consonants, you're still making money. You're not out in the streets.
But how many eyes? Let me ask
so you got Jay-Z, Jeezy.
Hold on.
No, let him finish. Let him finish.
Hold on. Let me say this. Right? So let's get some control here. We can't all talk at the same time.
Right.
Let a brother finish his point before you get to interrupt.
I was listening to him.
We good? Yeah. So I'm just saying. So you talk Jay-Z, Jeezy, these brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are an exception. But they were walking commercials for black men going into the prison system for years. So I would take more Consonants than the Jay-Z and Jeezy because most of the Jay-Z and Jeezys are better in jail.
Okay, but going back to what our sister brought us here for was mental health. We can these little niggas cannot take failure no more. They don't know what it's like to be told no. They don't you comment that one negative comment in that comment section on their podcast or their review or whatever, gonna shatter them. So
make a nigga crash out.
They crashing out. It's not.
That's right. In the streamer space too though. The nigga, what's his name? Ashton. Who got smoked by Speed?
Yeah.
That nigga been a broken joke ever since he got his ass whooped by Speed. You was a bitch by the way.
Come on, fool. And it's just you can't take that type of criticism, and a lot of this shit happening online. So it's just bro, you don't got the mental health that you think you got. You're not built that way.
I'm sorry.
I agree with you, but
these little niggas is no longer built that way.
I'm sorry, I agree with Chaz on this.
But even again, the past, it's
I feel
mental
you at
health
the same
is to
time,
the point
bro.
is because of Jay-Z.
I give him that one.
So mental health hasn't,
because that machismo shit definitely ain't work.
Not at all. It didn't work for Jay-Z.
The one thing I will say,
and you saw that nigga crying when he almost lost his wife. He gave you all that macho bullshit. He was right in therapy, crying his ass off when he almost lost the most important thing to him.
Chaz, what do you think about this though? I got a question for you.
In real life.
Because
I love you, bitch, in real life.
I don't know how you are, but I know you from old enough to have actually listened to these guys rap when they're actually talking. You find a good one these days, you got to lock it in because these hoes broke. Do you see anything of a redemption? Because I think that's what the clips, maybe not Pusher, but Malice, he does try to do a more of a redemption arc where he's like, there's even like the opening song, he talks about like my dad, like I was selling drugs I shouldn't have been doing. I didn't make my dad proud.
He went back to
So
rap.
do you think there's something to that?
Even going back to rapping, he was high going back to rapping.
I don't throw the baby out the bathwater, of course. You know what I'm saying? So it's again, everything to me is a necessary. So even the Clips album and them rapping, going back, lyricism is bringing it back. So yes, there's a redemption element towards that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they took it to a level of lyricism. I'm good with that part. Afterwards, what comes next? You know what I'm saying? But again, 50 years old still, you know, but I'm not throwing the whole thing away.
But also,
they kept keeping up.
But to Chaz's point though, right?
The 1% of drug dealers that actually made it to that.
No, but to Chaz's point though, it's some old niggas that still selling drugs who needed to hear exactly what the Clip said on that album.
That's what I was.
Which is that you need to get over.
That's what I'm saying.
So I think that album was made for those who needed to hear it, because there's a lot of you old niggas still selling weight, and you need to go into IT today.
And that's what I'm saying, because
this nigga Malice said, I put down the drugs and this rap and went and served my country in the military.
I'm the only one who made it free. Like, that's what he said.
That nigga stepped off.
I agree with you with the larger point of the Kais and Nets of the world, but I think, I hate to be this guy, but isn't that on us as the generation before that didn't instill in them a certain mindset? Everyone here,
I agree.
From what I can see, we just met each other.
I live more than half my
comes from people who I think have instilled in us something that has pushed us here. So that's why we're even having this conversation. And maybe we got to be honest, like how many of our peers, like, do we look around and we like, yo, why didn't you do that? Like at a certain point, I look around some of the people I know and I'm saying, man, I know your mother, I know your father. You didn't have to. Why did you do that? And at what point do you need to take some accountability? I sold drugs. So you got like that's what Hope told us a long time ago. And I wonder how many kids are gonna listen, because if you don't listen, that's the thing about music, in particular Black music. It's for you to listen. It's not for you just to dance. Like you can dance,
for sure.
But a lot of times in the dancing, it's heartache. It's because of that they're dancing. Like they're telling you a story. Like some of the greatest songs we know are heartache.
Future.
I agree with you. I got a question. Yeah. Do you believe hip hop was weaponized? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
So would it behoove the youngest not to pay attention to being weaponized at the moment? Because then you're throwing them back into the trap.
Yeah, but I don't think it's because that's hip hop is for the people.
Because you're talking as a mature man right now.
That is true, and I will give you that.
Little 18-year-old, 20-year-old.
That's true.
Said, we all sold drugs because we heard.
Yeah. No, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? So.
No,
but this is the thing that there's.
I needed money.
But
exactly. Don't listen to this troll. Don't listen to this troll. But this is
the people you looked up to listen to that.
And I think you're so right. And I think you're so right. But there comes a point where this is for us.
Yeah.
Like hip hop is, while it has been weaponized, at its core is still the cat trying to put bars together, like trying to put the hottest 16 down and tell you about what it's like living in Capitol Heights.
Niggas about Bodie James, and they be like, "Who is Bodie James?"
Like at rap's core, and see, that's not a good example for this at all. But at rap's core, it's supposed to be about telling your story. It's supposed to be about.
I was just talking about
us telling how we feel about things.
Your story and the story of your community.
And your community. So I would hate to take that away from a 19-year-old because there's some cats who's coming up who actually are like, yo, they looking around, they like,
paid, bro.
They see what's going on, and they're like, that's not right, and they're gonna talk about it in the music. You're right. A large majority are going to exploit this genre to make money, and that's it. But even if there's just 2%, I give it 2%. If it's 2% of cats, I'll take that, because the one kid who does blow up, because we just said it earlier. Those are the influence.
Right.
It's the rappers. It's not.
Right.
It's not the professors.
So that's saying
This
why-
is the-
Can I ask-
bro, I'm not
can I ask you a
talking
music
about-
question?
Okay.
As far as rappers go in the DC area,
'Cause I
who
ain't
is a
fucking with
rapper?
that too, bro.
10 years, whatever, that you are like, you can't name Wale. You can't name Shy Glizzy.
They
That
did.
you are like,
They did. I can stamp it now. They did.
I think this person should be the representation of what this city sounds like to other people.
Let you go first, Trace.
You got that.
DMV. You can do DMV.
Are we talking like new artists?
No,
or we
I'm just talking about the last from go from like 2010.
Okay.
2010. Who was the rapper?
I'm
Okay.
a little biased in mine because I just believe in my man Talent, my man Young Sir. But outside of that,
Okay. My thing is you should be biased. My thing is about being. This is the thing about. This is my larger issue with DMV music is that
So you know, Young Sir.
people can't be biased and also be like just real. Like,
First of all, I think every opinion on music is biased.
Or Mia.
But
yeah, to an extent. But certain things are facts,
You was fan for a female rapper. Oh my
Who?
I
God.
appreciate it.
Me got
Oh, I thought Will the rapper.
Listen.
Personally, I thought Will the rapper was the guy. I was like,
No,
he would have been
Actually,
a great
I
representation
actually would have
of a
said Fat
larger.
Tro.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
I would have
Say
argued the
Trey.
beginning
Before he got
half,
out.
but
Yeah.
I feel like Fat Tro just didn't put in the actual music.
Yeah,
Like,
I think it was his work ethic.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I don't think it was the talent.
no, the talent is still there.
But if
I've
we're
heard-
just talking about talent,
But see,
I
that's-
think the representative.
But this is my issue with basketball. We can't do that.
He's a
I still smoke a lot of you niggas.
No. But here's my issue with.
He's the DC Meek Mill.
But here's my issue with talent. We can't.
Young Sir, being a Muslim, behind closed doors. How much,
Okay.
Right, Shaw.
Yeah.
Same thing with Uncle John.
Yeah.
Uncle,
I still love
he's
him.
he
But
actually.
I probably
he's
would say
great.
him for it now.
You know what I like about him? He's about his bars.
Yes.
And I think one thing about here is that certain cats, for some reason, think that making songs are more important than having good bars.
Mhm.
And I think this is not the area to do that. This is not Atlanta.
I would argue though that,
I'm just being honest.
and shout out to Uncle John because we're gonna get him on here too.
He's great. I love his bars.
We talked
He
recently, so we're gonna get him
cranked,
on
bro.
here. But I would
No problem.
argue that what I like about Uncle John is like what I like about like Griselda. I think that like there is
He plugged with
a
them.
combination. It sounds like it. There's a combination of
Of
like
bar-
bars, but with like music that really like kind of
Because
hits
he
and
appreciates the bar-
amplifies.
he
I think there's a
appreciates
lot
the
of
art
music
form.
where like the bars get lost, like, and
He
you don't
appreciates
notice
the
how
art
awful
form,
it is.
bruh.
But like I
But
think
that's the
what
name of the
Uncle
game,
does
though,
is,
right?
like, he like
That's why I
You
brought
know
up-
makes
that's
he
why I brought up
creates
Bowley.
songs where like the beats
Mhm.
elevate
That's why I
the
brought
music
up
and they play
Bowley.
off of each other. And everybody's not good at that.
That's why
I think that's a skill
But
too.
that's the thing. And one thing is, I wish rappers like him would. I don't know if he does this purposely, but he just represents himself.
You listen.
He's just him.
Have you heard?
I wish cats would lean into I am from, because if he got a pushing from a lot of people from this area, I think he'd be so much bigger. I think we got a dude named Johnny John
Yeah.
who makes beats
Oh, my
and is a producer. He's done a few different songs with cats. He's more like soulful type of, I wouldn't even call it pop, but it's more of this like uptight tempo.
He
I'm like,
takes-
bro, why don't you make beat? Why don't you do stuff with
Johnny-
these cats?
Johnny
Like,
John, the type of producer, he'll take a Spanish song. I'm talking about like a fully Spanish rap song, flip it.
yeah, he be doing his
And
thing.
you'll be like, I've heard this song before, but I don't know where the fuck I heard it from.
I just think we need to be able to
And then
do
you
our
just
pockets,
listen to it and
but
be
then a
like,
larger thing.
holy hell.
Everybody needs to be
Yeah,
able to be like, yo,
Johnny John and-
I'm in my group, but we got a larger sound that we want to, like, there's no reason. The best rap, Uncle John should be doing songs with, bro, everybody should be coming to him, be like, yo, I want to do a song with you
Man,
just
I don't
because
know why
I
you
know
Um,
you could
Besides the business
elevate my
aspect,
song.
We'll get into it.
You
I
can
don't see
elevate my
something
song,
from
bro.
the business point.
Y'all should want to get with
Yeah.
the hottest
And it's
rappers
crazy
to
because-
elevate your bars, to elevate your music. Like,
Yeah.
he makes great music. I want to
think-
make great music with him.
I think like, and to answer your question, Moot, I stopped doing music for a combination of reasons, but I think overall, I felt like my personal life was coming together. And when I started to compare the financial aspect of my personal life with what was happening in the music, I started to see music as a liability.
Okay.
And so I think with that comes the fact that I felt like I had kind of aged out of it. I think that there is for so long, whether, and I know like the conversation has been around clips so much of like how it's proof that like there's music is a very age-based business, in particular for women. And women get a lot less space in that particular
especially when you haven't been there.
So when I hit 30, I just felt like, I feel like I'm aging out of this. And then I was spending so much money to create these things that I was proud of, that I thought was good. It is very expensive to make something good. So
especially with no financial backing.
Like when it's just independent. And so it gets to a space where like, no, you spending $6,000-$7,000 to record, mix and master this album, right? And then you might see $1,000 back. And shout out to Ty Rellington, who is still my favorite producer in the world, right? That last project that we did
we know Ty.
Got like 350,000 streams.
Nice.
Right? Which is one of them my man.
Especially as an independent artist.
With no backing, no push, like made in the DMV, wouldn't touch it, nothing, right? I thought what we did was impressive. That earned us like $1,000, right? It didn't even cover the recording costs. So for me, it just got to a place where like, this is no longer financially valuable. And then also as an artist, I started getting into like a space where it's like, oh, you can do commercials. So you can use your voice in other ways. So I started doing like voiceovers and cartoons. And so like when you see the money you can make still using your voice, right? When you like, oh, damn, this is why Cree Summer has been in like 35 cartoons. You can build a whole life around it. And so for me, it was like not financially valuable. You feel like, you got to start making sacrifices because you got a real life. Because at that point in time, I didn't graduate school now and bought a house. You know what I mean? Like I got a man, we building a life. Like there are things I have to consider as an adult. And it just didn't factor in anymore. And I still think it's fun. I still love music. Me and Ty still fuck around all the time. But like, as far as like actively pursuing that shit, the money just don't make sense. And I think that like, when you look at a lot of artists who tell you like they didn't quit, they have other financial situations that are creating their ability not to quit. So for me, it's just like, nah, like we paying this out of our pocket with 9 to 5s. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I still got a mortgage and a condo over here, baby. Like, you got to be real with this shit. That's real. And it's like, nah, these commercials, like I'm spending $7,000 to get these albums done. This commercial paid me $5,000 in a day. So I got to start looking at shit. So it just turned into that. The math wasn't mathing. And it really just came down to that. I feel like if you could like, if we had, right, so, and this is no shade or no diss, right? But if someone like Kevin Durant built a creative arts and science center instead of a fucking basketball court, then you would have situations where kids were able to like pursue these things until they took off without it turning into something else. That's just real, man. When you look at like the amount of money that comes out of these areas, when you would like, I watched and I talked about this not too long ago. Quinn Cook helped produce a documentary on Thomas G. Pullen, right?
Okay.
So fantastic documentary, amazing what that coach was able to do at that school for the boys and the girls team, right? I think if you take your time, money, and put it into things like that, I think that makes more sense than putting yet another motherfucking basketball court in these neighborhoods. And that doesn't mean that these kids don't deserve a place to practice and play, but we don't got enough of these shits around here. What's open every motherfucking day, dog? You don't need another basketball court in these neighborhoods. What you need is a creative arts center, a center where you have recording equipment and digital design equipment and cameras and podcasting equipment.
Back to the math and
that's what I'm saying.
You know what's Oh, no,
and shout out to J Flow because
shout out J Flow. That's my
right homie. Because and make sure y'all participate, man. We got a backpack drive coming up August the 16th. We're gonna be out there. You weren't there podcast. I was able to get my company to sponsor. We sponsored 100 backpacks out there. We're gonna bring some more.
We sponsored 100
exactly. So we gonna make sure we out there. Make sure y'all support. But Jay has a program that he got into Prince George's County and Baltimore County school systems where he's teaching podcasting. I'm a part of that program in November. So like those are the things I think benefit the community, not another basketball.
But you see, was interested. J Flow, shout out to the brother we went to high school together.
For sure,
good man. He's a regular cat like us. What is he doing? Working with the community. Now, like you said, no shade to anybody, but there's a lot of people who come to this area who are very rich, and what they do, and what they do give back are very superficial things. So the question has to be asked: who's at fault at this?
For sure.
Because here's my thing. I don't want to get in nobody's pockets. I don't tell nobody what to do with their money.
For sure.
But there is a very cultural and generational thing.
I was back.
Because I think like something that I think like Chaz like consistently reminds me, right? So just like there was the benefit of like less channels, parents spending maybe more time with their children, right? Which changes the kind of human beings that they become, the lessons that they impart, right? It changes the generation. Also, the advancements concerning like the freedom of information, right? So there are obvious problems with like the freedom of information, but also I think like maybe one of the greatest benefits in the research and information is like the kind of person that you can become. I think that fathers are more in touch than ever, more sensitive to their sons, more understanding, more communicative to their wives and girlfriends, because there is like an understanding. Because I think like when I look at like the podcast that I like, right? A lot of it is men explaining in very simple terms to other men why this kind of behavior is not a problem. And you might not listen to that coming from your woman, but you might listen to that coming from a man that you respect. That's real. So I think that like, just like there's a bunch of bullshit that has happened in the modern era as a result of like too much media, too much social media, too much overconsumption, too much greed. I think one of the benefits that can benefit us all in that is like this open air market of communication.
For sure.
And so I think like with the open air market of communication, there is an opportunity for us to have platforms like this, that you can have these conversations, whether you agree with all of it or not, where we share information, where we're able to like communicate openly and freely, and then allow those ideas to potentially get out to somebody who could change the world.
For sure. Yes, sir.
Lastly, because we is on time, but I got a segment. I got one question just for y'all.
Yes,
we
sir.
usually have like three, but I got one. It's called Flip the Script.
Ooh.
Chuck, you on first.
Okay.
All right, it's for both of y'all. I wrote this down. Would you rather raise a mentally tough children who can handle criticism like previous generations, but bottle up trauma like we've been doing, or emotionally aware children who process their feelings but can't handle failure or negative feedback?
The first. I would much rather, because I think trauma is something everyone goes through. I was actually thinking about this earlier. Even the richest person you know through has a form of trauma. Whether you agree or not, it's something that is a lived human emotion. So I think that's something that all of us have to deal with uniquely and differently. And it doesn't benefit. I think that's actually some of the big issue with the kids, that they are too quick to be like, oh, this is my trauma, without understanding everyone got trauma. You're not the only one.
For sure.
So I would take the first for sure. I would much rather raise someone who, hey, can take it in, and maybe has to be like, I don't like myself a little bit. But listen, we all do that.
I would retweet Charles' point, because Chuck know my life, so I'm trying to figure out how I can word this in the best.
Trauma is trauma, man. Like no one is running from it. I don't know nobody. Even the people who have like the really good lives,
especially on this couch,
they can't run from trauma. You can't run from it.
Like I've been through a lot of trauma, like in my life, and that's why this one of my best men. Like I've been through some serious shit. I just said, like, I've been evicted multiple times in my life, and this nigga was the one that helped me move the shit out my house. Like, so when it comes to trauma and shit like that, like that's why this nigga's my brother. You know what I'm saying? Reason why I do a lot of things I would never say on mic for him. So it's just like,
lastly, I don't want to glorify that. I don't want to glorify trauma. Like that's the thing that I think sometimes black people. I don't want to glorify it.
And I think also that's interpretation, because I'm not seeing it as glorifying trauma. I'm really seeing it as glorifying brotherhood.
Oh yeah.
But I think you would have to be smarter and have like the ability to communicate to maybe interpret it that way. So like it depends.
That's not like the reason why like I went through what I went through isn't why this is my brother. Like the reason he didn't judge me for what I went through is why that's my brother. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he stayed with me between everything I went through. Like, that wasn't the first time I got evicted. Like, it wasn't the first time I went through what I went through. Like, even when I switched religions, stayed by me. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, what you going through? Like, oh, what's up with you, bro? Like, oh, you're not supposed to be doing that. Like, oh, I thought you went. I thought
he don't be on his bean. I make sure he on his bean.
Yeah, that is. Like, he keep me solid. So it's just like, when it comes to shit like that, it's just, I retweet that. Like, I'd much rather have somebody just like I much rather raise a child that thinks they holding in trauma that they can talk to me about, because it's like, bro, like, trust me, I've been through way worse than you. Like, I've been there, my nigga. Like, so I much rather deal with that than raising a child who's just like, oh shit.
You got kids, Chaz?
Mm-hmm.
That's a parent question.
I just wanted to see what I mean, I kind of knew what the answer was going to be.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's a parent question. That's a retro.
But I knew the answer was going to be because we speaking from personal experience, but as a big picture, would you say that generations who did that, bottled the trauma in, was not better off in the long run as to one who know how to face their feelings in the short term, but in the long run, they pan out better?
I have a theory that sometimes the generation before us having that male in the household is not the best for said son.
It could be for sure.
I think that survival was such a different landscape. Like, I think
it's not the same.
But that's because
Charles is about to explain my point.
That's because the man who shouldn't be in that home didn't know how to handle his trauma and emotion.
Sure.
There it is.
Yeah, I think survival was a big
trauma.
thing. Yeah, I think survival was a big thing. So I think those past generations, they were strictly. I don't think we need to survive in that way. Maybe I'm wrong.
Like Charles, like so the reason why, like, this is part
Make it
2.
quick, man. They trying to get out.
My bad. I'm already hit. Like the part 2 of this podcast, I guess you could say. Another reason why Charles is my man is because he helped me break down my trauma. Like, as well with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the guidance that he granted me and the wisdom and everything with my religion. You know what I'm saying? Peace and blessings to Muhammad. You know what I'm saying? But everything else that come with that, like, Charles helped me break down the trauma. He was like, bro, like, this is what you went through. It's not who you are.
Never.
Wait a minute. Question. Would you say you use marijuana at all as like a means to like process or deal with any of your trauma?
Not at all.
No, I was gonna say I actually, because when I saw that, I was like, wow, that's a really good question, because I think we do. Yes, no, but I think it's a double fold. I think when you smoked as much as we had, like I remember when I first started smoking, it was because I was rebelling. I'm straight up. I was smoking to rebel. I was smoking because people were like, you can't smoke and still do things. So I would literally smoke and then go do stuff. I would like smoke and then go play basketball, smoke and go do stuff. Versus now, I smoke because it changes the chemistry of my mind. Legitimately makes me a little bit more calm.
Smoking for
in a way that when I was 16, that wasn't the concept. And I think if you just leave marijuana just to be marijuana, you'll fuck up, because you will allow it to take over you in a way that you're not. You have to be very cognizant about where you stand in the world when you do drugs. I don't care what drugs you do.
Thank you.
If you are a happy person,
you'll have a happy trip.
You'll do good. If you are like frustrated, you're gonna smoke and be frustrated. You're going to.
It's just gonna happen.
And I think people who smoke weed in particular, because it changes your mind chemistry, you don't realize
your body chemistry.
You don't realize that that's what it's doing. But whatever you were feeling prior, that shit is going to heighten. So when I was at like my saddest and I would smoke, that should make me more sad. It didn't make me like, oh, I see rainbows now.
So much fucking Kid
Cudi. Bro, I was
sad, bro.
He could smoking with this nigga. There was 1 year this girl broke up with me. I would smoke and just like sit in the back of the car, like can we listen to down bad over this girl. Like,
and this nigga listen to Kid Cudi. And I'm like, fool.
Like he was right. I had to start taking breaks because like I felt I was getting over. Like I was smoking to cope with the idea of whatever.
Yeah.
So even when I was happy, like, oh, let's get high because I'm not like we need to be like this. It's like nah. Like I feel like you got to realize it. And you said something about being a mature person, like with the music thing. I think that's with the drugs too. Like the older you get, the more you realize that like, oh, this is why I'm doing this. Like even when you ever been on a bender, like you like not like a real bender, but like you get really drunk over like a weekend, and then you have to be like,
damn, I say, Charles,
why did I get that drunk?
Yeah, well, they expose.
That's basically how I see weed. Like for most adults, that they don't realize how much they're doing until they have to be like, whoa, I was smoking all that.
Check your bank account.
And you know, like stuff like that. Like
that's why I stopped.
But that's people have to be honest with themselves. People aren't honest with them. I know if I don't smoke weed, I'm gonna be irritable. Like I'm really gonna be like annoyed with like
But you know what's
too
crazy?
Naturally high, anxious. Like
Right.
we're naturally hyper people. Like we play, like I said, like I met through the AAU circuit. Like we used to playing sports. So it's just like we used to just being outside, like playing basketball, doing all this extra shit, all that. So just like when you slow us down, now we learning about history, talking about politics and all that. Like our focus shifts. Like, you okay?
It's like a bee or something. I don't do bugs. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm all woman when it comes to that. But I hear you.
Okay. So like when it comes to like us naturally, I also think that's why we blend as friends. But like we're two naturally high energetic individuals. So it's like when it comes to like smoking weed and all that, like I said, like I know when it's time for me to take a break when it's mental. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been through
enough.
Thank you. I've been through multiple grieving stages in the last couple of years, and it's just like it's best for me to just step away from weed and alcohol because I'ma just lunch out.
Okay.
And put it lightly.
Now I feel that. Like I was a person who like I tend to overthink.
Yeah.
And so I noticed I noticed that when I smoked, and I think maybe it was something that like I didn't really notice it because there is like a certain place where like the chemistry changes in a calm takes over. And so like maybe you don't notice it in the beginning that like I was anxious for the first 45 minutes of this before I got to the place of calm. And so because you're just waiting for that point to hit. And so is it registering that you were anxious for 45 minutes of this?
I love that.
But I got to a point where I really started to notice. And I was like, okay, I'm an anxious overthinker. And that is like maybe my more natural personality. And so for the first 45 minutes of this high, that's how I feel. And then when the calm takes over, all of that's fine. But it was just like, no, why am I so fucking anxious for the first 4? That's not normal. And so I had tried like a bunch of different strains to try to regulate it. It still wasn't working. And so it just got to a point where I felt like, this like anxiety is lasting too long, which then made me focus on why am I so anxious? And then made me realize I'm not dealing with this in any other way except for this. And then over time, because I'm coping with my anxiety this way, I'm also noticing how much fucking money is getting spent. So it's all these things happening all at once though. But this is all happening for me like within like a month. Like within a month after years of
I feel like that's how it happens. When you realize,
really you realize like, I'm way too anxious for way too long. Why am I so anxious? Am I managing my anxiety in any other way beyond this? I'm not. That's a problem. And also, holy shit, how much money did I spend trying to manage this shit? So within like 30 days, all of this happened, and I just was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
About all of that.
Yeah.
Shout out to weed.
Right.
You know what?
It just got to a point where I was like, nah, all this is a problem. And so like probably like 6 months ago, I just
you know what's funny? I did.
My man, we about to wrap up.
No, we wrapping up. Listen, we're gonna get High Coast back in here for a part 2, man. I think y'all noticed we had a great episode today. But it has been like 2 hours. This ain't Drink Champs. It's time to
this ain't Drink.
We don't do this. Like we did it for them. You know what I'm saying? Niggas had a lot to say. We respect everybody that come up here, but this shit is enough. And I'm trying to go to dinner with my man. Thank y'all for coming out, man. I am your host at Mia Was Here. We're gonna let the guys get their socials and we're gonna get the fuck up out of here, Chaz.
Chaz DL, CHASDELE. Like, share, subscribe. Thank y'all, gentlemen, for coming through.
Of course.
Sharing conversation with us. I really appreciate it. Oh, yeah. The bird about to do it. Go get that.
Make sure y'all go get that.
Peace and blessings. You know what I'm saying? Salam alaikum out here.
Yes,
my name is Hazy Musa, HAZIEMUSA. That's on Twitter and Instagram. I'm going to let my brother go ahead and do his thing.
High Coast the podcast at HIGH pod POD cast. CST, High Goes the Podcast at The Frugal Scribe. I said earlier, the THE, Frugal, FRUGAL, SCRIBE, Scribe. Thank you. You went their podcast, amazing people, lovely arrangement.
Shout out to Miss Mia, shout out to Chad.
They were amazing.
Shout out to
and shout out to the fans.
For sure, man. And of course, you know me, at Mia Was Here, 5_. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the You Weren't There podcast on YouTube. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on TikTok. The travel podcast is coming soon because we do believe in that up here. Yeah, I've been to like 45 countries. So,
45. That's
like,
hard.
yeah, I don't fuck around. So, you know, I believe in that. I believe in exploring the world. And I think as Black folks in particular from this area, it's very easy to sit here and never leave here. I know people that ain't never left the 4 quadrants, and I think that that's a crime, man.
I know niggas from Northeast ain't never left Northeast.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I know people that never left this area, and it's a crime, man, because when you start traveling, you realize that the world truly does work differently, and that there are places where people actually like us. So shout out to the travel podcast.
Like
It's coming soon. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. God bless y'all. And make sure y'all come back next week. We'll be back in this joint, man.
Yes,
We weren't
sir.
there. We out.